In this member-picked topic, we are tackling how do the Academy Awards, the Oscars, treat animation? Fascinating topic. We've touched upon this a few times in the past, but I really want to deep dive into this. It's a great topic. Up next here on OG55, member exclusive topic. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another member-picked topic here on OG55. We have the members pick the video topics. We do this periodically, and this was a great one from SD Drawings, member here on OG55. If you want to submit a video topic idea, become a member and go ahead and put that in the community tab, and we will make an entire video. We do all of them. Every single topic, we do all of them. So, George, welcome back, sir. How you doing?
Thanks. Glad to be back. And yeah, it's always good to do any, recording on Orange Grove 55, but it's very special to do these member only exclusive topics because it's literally involving the community, into these videos, and, they pick the topic and we basically, have a conversation about it. So it's always a good time.
Absolutely. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And also check out my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
There he is. All right. SD Drawings, member here on the channel, submitted this fantastic topic. You should do a topic about how they treat animation at the Oscars. Every year before they give out the awards, they always make a joke about how it's just for kids. It always frustrates me. Like you always say, animation is a genre. I'm sorry, animation is not a genre. It's a medium. SD Drawings, this has bothered me for so many years. So many years. In the early 90s, okay, Beauty and the Beast was the first animated film to ever be nominated for a Best Picture nomination at the Oscars. It lost to Silence of the Lambs, which that in and of itself was ridiculous to me. Beauty and the Beast should have won, okay? That was absolutely insane that it lost. Aside from that, though, soon thereafter, the Oscars decided that, you know what, let's have a whole best animated film category. Now, the issue that I have with this, and I know a lot of people might disagree with this, and that's fine. The issue that I have with a best animated category is that, like you're saying, SD Drawings, it treats animation like a genre. It's not a genre. It's a medium. Okay, it's just another way to tell stories. So animation or live action, a good movie is a good movie. So why are we separating them? Well, I feel like the Oscars separates them to kind of give animation like the kiddie pool, basically, the kiddie table. Like, oh, the kids stuff is over there with the best animated film stuff. Animation is a beautiful art form. A lot of the animated movies do a better job at storytelling than a lot of the live action stuff. It should be able to play ball with the big boys, okay? And I get it. There have been some animated films that have been nominated for Best Picture, like this straight up Best Picture, since Beauty and the Beast. I think Up was nominated, if I'm not mistaken.
It has been, and I'm going to touch upon that a little bit more because that, I agree with you with Beauty and the Beast, but Up even pissed me off more, and I'll explain why.
Okay, I'm curious about that one. Yeah, but it's too far and few between. I don't feel that the Oscars respects animation. I really don't. I do feel, like you were saying, SD Drawings, I do feel that they treat it like children's content, and it's just not. It is absolutely not. Animation is a beautiful art form. It can be for kids only, but it can also be for adults. I mean, look at what they do in Japan with their animation. A lot of that stuff is violent, big boobies, the whole thing, right? And that's for adults. Animation, because it's not a genre and it's a medium, can be literally anything you want it to be. So it makes me mad. But the Oscars, you know, they don't get it. They don't understand it. They don't see it that way. They see it as little kid stuff. So it's crazy. But George, go ahead, brother. What say you, sir?
Yeah. So kind of going back to what you touched upon with Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. First off, the fact that that movie lost to a film like Silence of the Lambs is insulting enough. No offense to the movie Silence of the Lambs. No offense to the actors, the writers, the director of that film. You know, they did what they needed to do for that movie. But to have that movie be considered as best film of the year,
right?
I don't understand. Going up against Beauty and the Beast, the first of its kind that literally it changed the face of animation. It was like, even though, you know, The Little Mermaid was, you know, the spearhead of the Disney Renaissance era, but Beauty and the Beast kind of like rubber stamped it, signed, sealed, and delivered, boom. And I feel like a movie to that incredible feat should have not gone without the recognition that it should have been deserved, because not just because it was a Disney film, not just because it was a Disney animated film, but let's stop labeling it as an animated film. It was nominated for Best Picture. Right. It was a damn flawless good film. Yeah. And that's where they should have looked at. Now, to my statement going to the 2010 Oscars, Up was also, as you had mentioned, nominated for Best Picture. Now, here's where it pissed me off with Up, because I absolutely love that film. It's in my top 5 Pixar films of all time. That was nominated for Best Picture and Best Animated Feature. So you have the same movie, but it was nominated in 2 different categories, one for Best Film of the Year, and then one for Best Animated Feature Film of the Year. It lost for Best Picture, but it won for Best Animated Feature Film. So why couldn't it just been, okay, it's a great film, it deserved the nomination for Best Feature Film of the Year, whether it won or not, you know, but just have it nominated for Best Picture. Now, I do believe Beauty and the Beast should have won the Best Picture. Do I believe Up should have won Best Picture of the Year? Probably not. As I said, I absolutely love the film, but I mean, if you kind of compare it to Beauty and the Beast, I mean, that's like comparing apples to oranges. Like, they're both equally delicious, but one is always more savored over the other.
Right. Yeah. And oranges usually are better than apples. I can confirm that. Absolutely. No, but the thing that bothers me too with that scenario where it was not, where Up was nominated for Best Animated Movie and Best Picture, right? Mm-hmm. So it didn't get Best Picture, but it got Best Animated. Mm-hmm. So it feels like the Oscars, again, it's like, we're not going to go that far with it. Like, we're not going to let this animated movie, like, you know, actually win Best Picture, right? But we'll give you like the concessions. You know, we'll give you. We'll settle for the Best Animated, though. You guys can have that. You know, it just, for me, it bothers me. And I know a lot of fans are probably going to disagree with me on this and be like, "Oh, gee, come on! I mean, Best Animated Feature category, it gives animation more chances." I get that, but it's not a genre. Why? I mean, they don't have Best Sci-Fi Movie, do they? I don't think they do. Or Best, you know, a country.
No, there is no other category. It's like, if it's Best Picture, whether it's sci-fi, whether it's Western, whether it's comedy, whether it's drama, whether it's musical, it's all under one. So yeah, why would you separate an animated film? Film is film, no matter how much you look at it. There's even films that get nominated. For instance, Avatar. Right. Avatar utilized state-of-the-art technology with enhanced, you know, computer graphics and what have you. So what? That could not have been nominated for Best Picture because technically it was done in a different medium than other films.
Yeah, I don't get that. Well, I think there is this mindset from the Academy where they see animation, and specifically animation, as for kids. Yeah, and that's just the way they see it. They see it as for kids. It's a kids thing, and it's unfortunately that's an outdated mindset. animation has really, really gained popularity of all ages in the last few decades. You know, when parents took their kids to go see Toy Story, the parents walked out of that theater enjoying the movie as much as the kids did.
Mhm.
You know, when I went to see Beauty and the Beast, my grandmother loved Beauty and the Beast. I mean, loved that movie. And she was old. And she it wasn't for kids. She wasn't a kid. She was old. And she loved that. It was one of her favorite movies. It's a medium. It's not a genre. And I wish the Oscars would understand that more, but they have that kind of hoity-toity, outdated mentality still.
Yeah. And even like going back to the golden years of animation, you know, Walt Disney won a special, well, not one, but he was honored with a special Oscar for the creation of Mickey Mouse. He was honored with the creation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with the big Oscar, and then the Seven Little Oscars.
And I heard that pissed him off. I heard the Snow White thing pissed him off. He just wanted a regular Oscar. He didn't like how they did the special Oscar for him. That's what I heard. I could be wrong, but I've heard that over the years.
I heard that too. Yeah, I heard that too, because a lot of people were speculating that when Shirley Temple presented that to him and he removed like the cloak or the cover, and like obviously he put up a smile and everything, but I think deep down he wasn't really pleased with that. I've heard that too. Again, I don't know if that's true either, but that's what I also heard. Also too, if we're going to also look at it as it is a medium, it's not a genre. And you look at all these other animated films that got nominated for other different categories. What makes Best Picture any different? For instance, Beauty and the Beast won for Best Song. So did A Whole New World for Aladdin. One for Best Score also. So, I mean, so these animated films can be nominated for individualities within the film, but it can't be nominated as a whole to go up against live action films as their contender. See, that's where, again, I disagree with the Academy on that as well. And also, too, even with Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, if someone puts on a tremendous performance of a character, they are portraying that character, whether they are fully on screen or whether they have to bring the emotion and sincerity and the characteristics out within their voice. That's, I feel like, even more challenging than actually having your face on screen. So why couldn't Jodie Benson be nominated for Best Actress for her portrayal of Ariel? Why couldn't Robin Williams be nominated for his portrayal of Genie? Why couldn't Tom Hanks be nominated for being Woody? Like, why does it have to be defined as, oh, it's animation, so we can only go so far with it? We can't go all the way.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's interesting that you say that, because they do make a separation of like Best Animated and Best Picture, right? And to be fair, they do sometimes do both, like Up, right? So you got like Best Animated and Best Picture, which, okay, that's kind of weird though, right? But they don't do that distinction with like the music though, right? It's not Best Song and Best Animated Song.
Correct.
So with the music, oh, it's fine. We can put the animation in there with the regular music, and that's fine. But for some reason, when it comes to Best Picture, it's like, well, we got to have a little bit of a divide there. We don't want to go too far, and maybe now and then we'll throw you a bone. Maybe now and then we'll have Up nominated for Best Picture too, but it's not going to win though. That kind of thing. It's bullshit. Okay. And they treat animation so dirty. And that's why I don't even care about the Oscars anymore. I got to be honest with you, because it's so political. I don't mean politics like, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I don't mean that kind of politics. I mean political, like Hollywood politics. Mm-hmm. And I don't even care about it, Now, I will say this, though. Our friend Jay Shear did make a good point, though. In a video we did a few months ago, he said he does like the Oscars because it does bring attention to some films normies wouldn't know about. And I will give the Oscars credit for that. Jay is right about that, because a lot of times there's a movie will get like 12 nominations. And I'm like, what? I've never even heard of this movie, but it's like cleaning up at the Oscars. It inspires normies, general audiences, to go and check out that film. That's a cool element to the Oscars. I'll give the Oscars that. But the way they treat animation and a lot of other things they do, not my cup of tea, man. Not my cup of tea.
I agree. And kind of going back to what I was mentioning about like even voice actors should be nominated if their if their performance of that character is flawless. As I said, I had mentioned Jodie Benson with Ariel, Robin Williams with
And I
Genie.
didn't know that. I didn't know that they weren't eligible for like best actor if they did the voice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, technically, if they wanted to, they really could, but they've never done it before. And
That's
honestly,
wild.
one person who really should have been nominated, whether he would have won or not, but for best supporting actor, should have been rest his soul, James Earl Jones for Mufasa.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, James Earl Jones, dude. What a legend, dude. I got goosebumps even saying his name. That's crazy. But like, yeah, no, James Earl Jones is amazing. I mean, for what he did with Mufasa, Darth Vader?
Mm-hmm.
Darth Vader? This guy was Darth Vader. He was Mufasa. He's been in a ton of movies, but he's an absolute legend. An absolute legend, man. You know, he's sorely missed.
So why, for a great legend as he was, why couldn't he have had the opportunity that if his portrayal of Mufasa was one of the greats, why couldn't he have been nominated for best supporting actor?
Well, and the voice acting is even harder from what I understand. I'm not an actor, so I'm just going off of what I've heard. The voice acting is even in a lot of ways more challenging than physical acting.
It is, yes.
You know,
Because and how I could actually testify to that because when I toured the Walt Disney Studios for Destination D back in 2012, Wreck-It Ralph was just about near completion, and they took us into one of the sound booths and they showed us like a rough cut of the animation of a scene of Ralph like talking with Vanellope. And they took us into the sound booth 2 by 2. And one person was Vanellope, one person was Ralph. And they said, okay, put the earphone, the headset on. And they said, you're going to hear 3 beeps. After the 3rd beep, read your line. And you have the script in front of you, but all you see is words, and you're like looking at it and you're thinking, okay, how is Ralph supposed to react to this? How is Ralph supposed to sound? So literally you have nothing to go on but words right in front of you. That's it.
Right. And they pull that magic out of basically thin air. They're talking to the wall, basically.
Yeah.
And they get all that motion and all that, humor and all that. It's crazy to me. So, yeah, the Oscars disrespect animation way too much. I don't know, man. I've tuned out of the Oscars for a long time. I don't think I've watched the Oscars since like Frozen was nominated for a bunch of stuff because like I was a huge Frozen guy back in the day. Mm-hmm. I still am. I like the original movie a whole lot. The second movie was okay. It was a little kind of in the weeds with the story, kind of all over, like not all over the place, but a little too complicated for me. I like the more simple stories. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the first one was an absolute banger. The music in that first movie was an absolute banger. So I was really rooting for Frozen at the Oscars. I haven't seen really an Oscar since then. I mean, dude, that was like Oscars would have been like 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My last Oscars was actually 2019. It was right before like the pandemic and everything. So if I seen the 2019, it would have been for the films of 2018.
Well, even that, dude. I mean, 2019 is a long time ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking 6 years ago at this point. You're talking almost a decade. It's almost a decade in like 3 or 4 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't even remember what won in 2018. I can't even remember. Yeah, it was like that far back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild to me, man. It's absolutely wild to me. So cool topic. I actually have a lot of old videos on this, like back in the day, like pre-George, even like when I was just doing the channel by myself, like back in like 2017 and stuff. I got videos about the Oscars and how they treat animation. Check those out. SD Drawings. You can search the channel. I've been beating this drum for a long ass time. I just don't like it. But at the end of the day, though, I feel like the Oscars are becoming more and more irrelevant. So, animation has proven itself as a juggernaut, as a beloved medium that people do love. And at the end of the day, the joke's on the Oscars, basically, right? Because animation is some of the biggest films, some of those memorable films. Some of these films in animation have changed Hollywood, have their cinematic, what's the word for it? Masterpieces in a lot of ways. And so while they might not get the recognition with the Oscars, they're getting recognition everywhere else. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I will say, but yeah, like even way back, like when I was preteen, like when I started knowing about like what the Academy Awards was and everything, and I would go back like years before, like to kind of catch myself up on the history and everything because I was too young to even care. But yeah, I remember going to like the 1992 Oscars and seeing that Beauty and the Beast was nominated and losing to Silence of the Lambs, and I thought, oh my gosh, what the hell are we thinking?
It's sad, bro. I couldn't even believe it. That movie to this day, Beauty and the Beast to this day, is the Walt Disney Animations crown jewel. I think Beauty and the Beast honestly surpasses a lot of the Walt Disney stuff, and I know a lot of Disney fans are gonna think I'm crazy for that. Yeah, I think Beauty and the Beast is better than a lot of the films that Walt Disney himself made. It's a gorgeous movie from start to finish.
Well, he couldn't even figure out a story for it. No. Like he went through it, like he dabbled in it how many times, and he just kept on taking the book on and off the shelf. Like he just couldn't get the story right, couldn't get the characters right, and it took like literally like 5 decades later for them to actually do it justice.
Yeah, and they did,
and I will say, and you mention this all the time, every time that we bring up Beauty and the Beast, and one of the main reasons Beauty and the Beast is the success that it is today. So much talent, you know, right. Actors, writers, and everything. But one person in particular that had his hands on that film is the late, great Howard Ashman.
100%. Howard Ashman has done so much for Disney. That's why I try to mention him in every video that I can, because I don't think people understand what an impact he had. We probably wouldn't have a Disney today if not for Howard Ashman. And I'm not exaggerating, because it was Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and the start of that Renaissance era that really revitalized Disney. Disney was not the juggernaut that it is today back then. Disney was really kind of circling the drain back then, you guys. Like Disney was really on the struggle bus, and it wasn't until the Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and they got their act together with animation, which was a huge thank you to Howard Ashman, and obviously the rest of the team too. But Howard Ashman was just, I mean, even the people who worked on those films back then will say the same thing I'm saying. Like, it was Howard, you know what I'm saying? He was like another Walt Disney in a lot of ways. He inspired the team. He did so much. If it was not for him and those movies, Disney would not even be around today, or probably wouldn't even be the same kind of company it is today. Maybe they would have been bought out. Who knows? But he changed the game, dude, in a big way. So yeah, rest in peace, Howard Ashman. We love you. And every video that we have a chance, we will always mention Howard Ashman, because he did it, man. He freaking did it. So, and we lost him way too soon.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. Way too soon. But SD Drawings, thank you so much for the fantastic member topic. Everybody, if you're a member, or if you're not a member, become a member and post your topic in the community tab. And we're wrapping up this kind of like phase of this, or batch of these member topics. I think we only have like 3 more. We're going to do one with Lucas Kim, your fiance Abby, and then we've got like a Matthew Murr and a Jay Brad. I think we got like 3 or 4 more left. Those videos, we'll be rolling those out in the next couple of weeks. Once we finish that batch, we're gonna put another community post up, and we can do this all over again. You can post your topics down below in that community tab, and we will go ahead and do these videos. So again, SD Drawings, thank you so much for submitting your question. George, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And also check out my new YouTube channel, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
There he is. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG 55. And thank you to all our members. We do know it's very hard right now financially for a lot of people. All right. It's very, very hard financially. And every member that spends money to watch, our dorky asses on camera, We do appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. So we will continue to turn out the content, the member topics. You guys pick them. We'll make the videos, dedicate to them. We'll have member lives, member exclusives, member firsts. A lot of times the videos that everyone watches, members get to watch those hours, maybe even days before. We actually have a video out right now for members only. It's probably going to stay members only. Seymour and I did a video about like the grifter space and kind of debunking the grifters in relation to the narratives out there about Disney. That one's a spicy one, members only. And that one will probably not go public. It'll probably stay for members. So if you want to check that one out, become a member. But George, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching, everybody. And until next time, see you later. Alligator.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.